brand new moment as I walk into Interfaith Spiritual Center worldwide. We are not here by chance, and for our viewing audience, you tuned in at this moment because we have a divine appointment together. Do you agree?
Yes.
We heard the call, we answered. And in August, I like my themes to be, rather light. For many years, I did healthy pleasures in August. And the dances of life for August is letting go and letting God do what God does best by means of our energy field. And why I love that theme of life is it's all inclusive. It embraces everything and everyone, regardless of color, race, creed, or sexual orientation. Our God is a God of oneness, and that's why we are here together and are drawn in this energy field. And as we come together to recognize that life, it's so interesting how life is. When we're in the flow of life, when we are letting go and we're letting this energy, move through us, things work out. And the minute that our ego jumps in and thinks, well, I got to do it this way, or we're feeling pressured, these are all part of the human condition. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. What that means, all have made mistakes and fallen short of their true self-image. We've all done it. We all get caught in that trap of feeling pressured, and life seems to be too much at any given moment. And then we breathe through it. And this is why I love our way of life, is that we recreate our experience. We don't like it, we recreate it. My daughter said, Mother, that was the greatest gift you ever gave me, is that I could recreate my experience. I would come home, we lived in Coronado, and she would be in this mood. And I would say, you know what, this doesn't feel right, and it doesn't work for me. And so I would go out, and I'd kind of go, da-da-da-da, on the door, and I'd walk in and go, hi! And so we would recreate our experience. So we're about, in this month of August, let's restore, let's renew, let's rejoice. And as we restore, renew, and rejoice, we recreate our energy field. I have read an amazing story about a woman named Ingeborg Rappaport, who's 102 years old. She's got it, Jesse. 102 years old. And she was born in Hamburg, Germany. And in 1938, she graduated from med school. And she was up for her orals. And the Nazi regime went in, and they saw that her mother was Jewish. And they called her the first-degree half-breed, and would not give her her medical credentials, would not give her her medical degree because of this Jewish background, if you can imagine. So she said, it was sad for Germany, and it was sad for me because my medical career turned to rebel. So in 1938, she moved to America. She went to Pennsylvania, she went to Pittsburgh University, and went on to get advanced degrees in her medical field. And she said, I have no bitterness. I came to this country, it was good to me. The schools were wonderful. I met my husband, I had my children, I created a life. But I still have this inkling about my MD from Hamburg University that I earned. Well, one of her son's friends heard about it. He was from Hamburg, and he went to the university, and he said, this needs to be righted. This needs to be addressed. And they said, well, give her an honorary one. An honorary one? She earned this. Well, she'll have to do her orals. And her specialty was in children's diphtheria. So that was 70 years ago. So she began to study up, to do her orals on all the advancements of medical science in diphtheria from 1938 to 2015. She flew to Hamburg. She passed her orals with flying colors. And on June 9th, the year of our Lord, 2015, there she was, cap and gown and receiving her medical degree at 102 years old. Earned. She is the oldest person in the world to ever receive a medical degree. I wept when I read the story. I had tears of joy that she had made a contribution in our country, but she had this one thing that she wanted to do, and she put it out into the universe. Someone in the universe grabbed it and said, yes, let's write this, let's address this. So when we're in the flow of life and in the dance of life, energetically, things unfold. They look magical, miraculous, mystical. But we have put a cause in mind. And that cause, whatever we conceive our God to be, is Spirit going before us and preparing the way as we become a lamp unto our own feet, drawing others into our light and energy field. Because we have put it out there. And when we put it out there and then let it go and let God, what that means is when I let go and let God, I don't go planting the seeds and the next day digging them up again to see how they're doing. I am not going to get a very good crop that way, right? I let them go, I plant them, and I water them. I know it's all unfolding. And then when I have that little feeling like, oh, things should be happening faster, then I just have to breathe through it and just realize that God will, in the Course of Miracles, love waits on welcome, not on time. Love waits on welcome. The welcoming spirit of love, the energy of life, and that light. And especially those of us in the helping arts, and I've been with many people when they've transitioned and moved off the planet. And I've been with those that do it so gracefully, and they leave the planet as gracefully as they've lived. And when we live our lives knowing that there is only one life, that the veil is very thin, that it's from this dimension to the next, then something happens. We're sad that our loved ones leave, but we also know that the day comes that we can, we can rejoice that it happened rather than crying that it's over. That there is a restorative power in being here at this time, because time doesn't heal all wounds, but love does. Love certainly does. So in this dance of life, where we look at someone who is 102 years old, that put it out there energetically. I was at the United Nations speaking in March, and there was a group of women from India, from Bengal. And they had formed a dancing, it wasn't exactly, it was like an organization, and it was a shelter for abused women. And they got up and they danced their Indian dance. I was mesmerized. And she said, this is how we move through our pain. They were just doing the whole energy of those dances from India that are so amazing. We dance through our pain. We move to the other side of our pain, and then we help other women who come to us, and we created this shelter for women. And I sat there and I thought, being on the solution level, this is what we teach in Science of Mind. And there are many people out there in Science of Mind that don't even know that they're using the principles. And many of us were using the principles before we knew it was even called anything, or there was a spiritual community, or that Dr. Ernest Holmes had founded religious science, which are the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of men and women. So the all-inclusivity of our way of life, that many of us practice it. But once we get into this way of life, we discover that trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. That we're going to direct that energy out there. And it was so interesting the other day, it was my birthday week, and we had this amazing Leo party, and it was just so filled with joy. Joy really is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. It's so beautiful. And we were out shopping with my daughter and my grandson. And I wore a pair of shoes, and I was getting a blister. I said, oh, I'm getting a blister. And I had bought my grandson a pair of shoes that he wanted, really, I guess, the designer flip-flops. I never knew there was such a thing, but there is. There are now designer flip-flops and famous footwear, if you need to know. And so I said, I think I brought an extra pair of shoes, and so we're looking at shoes, and my daughter's looking at shoes. And so my grandson says, my feet are hurting. I said, you're wearing flip-flops. How can your feet hurt? But the power of suggestion of me saying, my feet hurt, I've got a blister. He goes, no, Tricia was talking about that she, in her job, she has to wear a certain kind of shoe, and the ball of her foot starts hurting, so that suddenly the ball of his, he's 6 years old, he's grabbing on it. And I said, you know what? Let's recreate this right now. I said, we're not going to be neggy about our feet at all. Our feet represent our understanding. Let's get to that higher place of understanding, as silly as it sounds, and let's go barefoot. Let's just go barefoot. So what we put out is so fascinating about children, too. It's so fascinating. And this new order of children that's coming up is absolutely amazing. My daughter was saying that she was talking to Robert, who was a boy that she adopted. She's a social worker, and she worked in home for abused children and children of the state. And she said that she and Robert were talking about things they hated to do around the house, and one was dusting. And he goes, you know what I hate, Mom? And she thought, oh, why did I even put that word out there? She goes, what is it, honey? He said, I just hate it if I hurt somebody's feelings. Oh. So the new order that's coming up, the sensitive energy that's coming up in our world, I believe the healers are coming up in our world. I believe we have a lot of work to do on the planet. That's why we keep doing what we're doing. We keep putting it out there. We keep healing our own issues, addressing what needs to be addressed. And the way you can tell if you're healed, you're no longer defensive about it. You're just no longer defensive about it. You can just let it go. Fleet said that someone no longer comes here anymore because I've just gotten too glitzy for her. And I thought, in their 70s, you can be glitzy. If you've got a problem with that, honey, take care of it. Right? Take care of it. I mean, I've sent her to Mario's, right? I'm blaming it on Mario. But, whatever excuse the ego needs, right? The ego's going to find its excuse not to grow and unfold. This is how it works. That we come up with all these things, but to power through it. And I remember that my minister, I went to him about my mother-in-law, who I lived next door to, and I was not exactly in the dance of life. I was not at all. And so I had this long list of everything she did, and she was not nice to me. I want you to know that. Oh, she stole my right arm, And so I'm telling the whole thing, and he said, well, dear, you have the awareness. You make the adjustment. Oh my God, I'm never coming back. Well, how insensitive, how awful he could say that to me. I mean, I'm going through all this, this is just so painful. And I just did this whole number, was never going back. But you know what? The next Sunday rolled around, I rolled out of bed, I got myself over there because I knew he was right. I had the awareness. I had to do the dance. And I thought, if I'm going to do this little dance with mother-in-law dance, right, I'll do it. And so she put something out that was not nice at all. And I said, oh, that's very interesting. And then she put something else out that wasn't very nice. And I said, that's even more interesting. And everything she said, I didn't react. I was just interesting. And I was just letting it go, and I was just, letting go and letting God. And then she went to my husband and said, is Sharon feeling all right? She said that she always said, she's sassy. And I just learned that he was right. I didn't like it. I didn't like that I didn't feel he was sensitive to my pain and suffering. I mean, living next door to my mother-in-law. Lived next door to her. I was talking about healing that needed to be done. But let me tell you, when Neil made his transition at 34 years old, I was speaking in Hawaii. I took my mother. I took my mother-in-law. And I took my daughter, and I had a dear friend I was teaching self-image psychology also at a university. I took them all to Hawaii as a gift. And we were there for 2 weeks. And so I told my daughter, your job is, my mother liked to, quite a bit. And so I said, we're going to limit her to 2 Mai Tais. So we're just going to go with the flow. We hear in the back of the plane, Mom! Grandma Beach just ordered her 4th Mai Tai! Okay. That's really interesting. So, you go with the flow, and you go with the energy. And as we do this, and as we let go even more, we realize that there's a divine pattern and a rhythm in the universe, and I want to be in that divine pattern and rhythm. And I don't want to have to feel that I want to control everything. I mean, we all, there are a lot of controllers here today. And when we finally let that go and just realize that I can resign from being general manager of the universe. And when I can resign and no longer have to do that, my life flows. It unfolds. There is a beauty and there is a substance. And when there is a 102-year-old woman, Ingeborg Rappaport, Dr. Ingeborg Rappaport, 102 years old, and the University of Hamburg has her come through with cap and gown, addressing and making right what needed to be righted. To me, I just, I open my heart and I just say, this is a wonderful world, and that we are coming together as humanity, realizing that blood that courses through everyone's veins is that common denominator for each and every one of us, of our oneness. So as we go in August, a lot of us are going to go away and do things. I'm going to be here. But energetically, I'll be in the pool every day. I'll be enjoying Palm Springs. I'll be doing my yoga, and just so happy to be home because I have traveled so much this last year and a half. I'm just, just really loving being home and being with my spiritual family and feeling the energy and just knowing that I've planted a lot of seeds out there. RJ knows that. He's been with me. I've planted a lot of good seeds out there that I've touched people's lives, that I have been touched as well. And in that, we all grow. And we're all going in the same direction. Where is that? Higher yet. Where is it?
Higher yet.
Where?
Higher yet.
And so it is. God bless you.